Hey guys, welcome back to episode 2 of my Out of the Park Baseball 22 playthrough with the expansion Boston Blazers. And yes, you read that correctly. We are in first place through our very first month, albeit with a 15 and 13 mark, 1 game up on the Mets and Braves, 2 games up on the Nats and Phillies, 4 games clear of the Marlins. You can see primarily we're doing it with pitching. Our pitching staff has been above average. Our offense has been really, really bad. But we're getting it done with our pitching, specifically our bullpen. Look at some of the stats of some of our bullpen arms, and they are sparkling. And I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this right now because my goal today, or at least my initial goal, is to get through year one relatively quickly. So my goal for this episode is to get us up to the trade deadline. That's my plan. That's my anticipation. So there's going to be a lot of offline simming here. I'll probably come back at the beginning of each month and just kind of give an update. But yeah, especially since I'm only going to be doing 1 episode a week, I want to make sure we get enough. We want to get forward enough so that this doesn't take years and years and years. So you can see Pete Fairbanks, Jose Alvarado, and Steven Fuentes have all been absolutely lights out. Fuentes has been the best pitcher in our bullpen. 13 games, 15 innings, 10 hits, no walks, or no runs, 6 walks, 15 Ks. Hasn't given up a single run in 13 outings this year. Fairbanks has been terrific as our closer. 10 hits. Or excuse me. Nope, here we are. Nope, I got to go all the way down right here. 7 hits in 11 and 2/3 innings. He struck out 17, 6 saves already. And Alvarado, 14 games, 4 hits in 12 innings. He's walking a ton, but only 4 hits in 12 innings. Sorry, just got a message there that distracted me. So it's been our bullpen has been really, really good. Now, that being said, we have a couple pitchers who are doing fantastic as well. Matt Crook, 6 starts, 33 and a third innings, only 6 runs, 32 strikeouts. He's been fantastic for us as a starter. Here, Brett Kennedy, 2-0 in 5 starts, 28 innings, 22 hits. Only 1 home run. So we've had a couple of really good pitching performances. Our offense has been, like I said, not very good. Enrique Hernandez Quique's putting up a pretty good start to the season with 1 WAR. Johan Camargo leads us in home runs and RBIs. William Contreras hasn't played much, but hitting 420 plate appearances. And then other than that, it's been varying levels of suck. So that's really where we are. I'm going to just start simming. When we come back, it'll be June 1st. I am going to look to offload. I don't want to... you guys know, I'm not the type of player to take over a team and gut it. So even the team that I just drafted, I'm not going to do that. But it's entirely possible that players like Domingo Germán or some of our I don't know, we don't really have any old bullpen pieces. But maybe someone like Pete Fairbanks, while he's having a great year, as a 27-year-old closer, really, does he have more value to us or to another team? So we're not going to gut the team, but there will be changes. So I'll come back in June, and we will go over said changes. So I'll be back in a minute. All right, we're back at June for a quick update. We are 25 and 32, so the wheels fell off relatively quickly there. We were 10 and 19 in May after going 15 and 13 in April, and we actually won our first 2 games in May, so we ended the month 8 and 19. Again, not going to go take too deep a dive into the stats, but you can see our starters have been pretty good. Our bullpen has now been terrible, and our offense is still bad. We did make 1 deal in the month of May, and I will show that to you now. We traded Maikel Franco and Guillermo Heredia, along with 23-year-old second baseman Yanni Hernandez, to the Blue Jays. And we got Jackson Reese, Chavez Young, and Curtis Taylor. So Franco had requested to be traded. He didn't like that he was stuck behind Miguel Andujar, but that's where he was. So we sent him to the Blue Jays. He was 9 for 31 with us with a home run and 3 RBIs. We also sent Guillermo Heredia, who was our backup outfielder, He was 7 for 32. Looks like he's playing every day for Toronto. Very good defensively, but a minimal bat. And then Yanni Hernandez, who's a 1.5 star, 2-star middle infielder. Never looks like he's going to be anything great. Has a good eye, but the bat is a little iffy at best. So those 3 players will go to Toronto, and in return we get Chavez Young, who is a 23-year-old right fielder. Good eye, good avoid Ks. It looks like he's could have a pretty decent hitting package if he puts it all together. If the contact improves a little bit, the home run power improves a little bit. He's pretty good out in right field. Good base stealer. We will start him in Double-A Virginia Beach. And then we pick up a couple of bullpen arms. Jackson Rees, a 26-year-old ground ball pitcher, 2.5 star. He's already injured, out for a couple weeks with an elbow strain, but a league minimum for under cost controlled for a couple of years now. And Curtis Taylor, an extreme fly ball pitcher, but potentially good stuff. 3 good pitches, decent movement, above average control. So we pick up 2 bullpen arms and a quote unquote prospect. I mean, I don't know if he's ever going to amount to anything, but we move a couple of 30-year-old players, get a couple of mid-20s players back, and I consider that a success. So I think one of the things I want to do right off the bat is I want to get Graterol out of the starter's role. You can see he's been okay. He's 11. I mean, a 3.78 ERA, but he's not pitching 5 innings a start. He's made 11 starts and pitched 47 innings. The stamina just is never going to be there. So we're going to move Graterol into the bullpen, and I think that means who becomes our starter? Do we just stick? Let's make Michael Lorenzen our starter, and we will make Graterol our stopper. And yeah, I mean, as a bullpen arm, he's great. And if he can stay healthy, he's only 22. He's the kind of pitcher we want to build around. Him and Alvarado are both young. I guess Alvarado's 26. So is it Hernandez? Hernandez is 24. So we have some. I mean, Graterol, Alvarado, Hernandez, I could see as pitchers we build around. Fairbanks, I mean, he's still making the minimum, so there's no reason to necessarily move him right now unless we think we can get, a lot of value for him. And he's been pretty good. 12 saves, 3.38 ERA, 31 strikeouts in 21 innings. So from a pitching perspective, the players that I would be willing to move at this point, I'd be willing to trade Domingo Germán. He's arbitration eligible. I don't know how much he's going to ask for in the offseason, but I mean, he's been fine as an expansion team's number 1 starter. I mean, he's on pace to go 9-17, but put up over 2 WAR. I just don't know that I want to pay him. What's his ARB estimate right now? That's only 950. That's nothing. But if we can get value, that might be the thing. So just looking at this, I guess. Lorenzen, I'm willing to move because he's in the final year of his contract. Goodrum, because I don't want to pay him potentially $4 million in ARB next year. Strom, because I don't want to pay him 2.5. Camargo, because I don't want to pay him 4. So really anybody who's making more than a million and a half, so Nido's another one, I'm willing to move. Really anybody who's making more than about $2 million with the exception of Kike, and that's because I love Kike Hernandez. He's been our best hitter so far. And he's the face of our franchise at the moment. So, so and then from a lineup perspective, I mean, we just kind of went over it, but, we go to pitching stats for pitchers. Kennedy's been okay, and he's 26. He is what this is who he is at this point. I mean, he's not going to get any better than this. So, if we can get this type of performance out of him, great. Graterol obviously has room to grow. Germán is what he is. I mean, most of these guys are fully developed at this point, with the exception of Graterol and I think Fuentes. Yeah, I mean, he's got a little bit of growth potential left. I'd like to keep Fuentes in the bullpen this year, but he could potentially be a starter next season. I mean, a ground ball pitcher, good stamina. He'll be a back of the rotation guy, but for us, that's enough. Alvarado's walked 27 batters in 23 innings. That ain't going to get it done. And Hernandez has walked 20 in 20 innings. So our bullpen is walking a ton of batters. But we have some players that we can move there. And then from a batter perspective, Hernandez, Camargo, Nido are the only ones who are approaching 1 WAR. Andahar had a pretty good June. He's got 21 RBIs, but Camargo still leads us in home runs and RBIs. Kike leads us in OPS. Cedric Mullins has been a huge disappointment. Huge. Based on how we hit last year in Baltimore and his ratings, I did not anticipate a 184 batting average through May. But we don't really have any other options. I mean, we called up Yusnel Diaz. We called up Isaac Paredes. You know, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Austin Dean could get moved and we could stick Paredes at first. That might be an option. Not entirely sure. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say I'm ahead to July 1st. And then we'll take July a little bit slower. We'll do the day by day like we normally do because we'll have the draft and trade deadline and things of that nature. So when we come back, look at Cedric Mullins, 4 home runs and 4 runs knocked in. That's something. All right, so yeah, we'll come back at July 1st, and we'll see what we can do to improve this team. Be right back. Welcome back to July 1st. Yeah, I'm recording. Okay, welcome back to July 1st, guys. We're 36 and 46. We are in 5th place in the NL East. A game up on the Marlins. I think we played roughly 500 ball. Yeah, we're a little under 11 and 14 last month. It's our offense. I mean, our offense is just absolutely terrible. Our pitching staff hasn't been bad. I mean, our starters are 5th in the National League in ERA. Our bullpen is 9th. It's been our offense. It's just been absolutely atrocious. We made another deal in the month of June. We made it right at the end of the month. You can see here we traded Domingo Germán to the Tampa Bay Rays. Germán had gone 5-8 with a 4.20 ERA for us in 16 starts. Put up a 1 WAR in those 16 starts, 87 strikeouts, 31 walks. Gave up 13 home runs. He looks like he's pitched 1 game for Tampa so far. And in return, we get 25-year-old Josh Fleming. Now, the issue I'm running into when it comes to completing trades is that because I don't have that many players in my organization right now, I've got the 32 players that we drafted plus the handful that I signed in free agency. We just don't have a lot of options. If a team isn't interested in one of our players, we don't have a lot to add to it to entice them. So I'm finding a lot of 1-for-1 deals. And this one, I'm okay with it. Germán throws a little bit harder. Fleming is a ground ball pitcher who's not going to walk very many batters. Which, I mean, if you've watched my playthroughs, you know that's my type when it comes to pitchers. He had 1 start, didn't pitch particularly well, but I like his profile. He's not going to strike a lot of batters out, but he's not going to walk anybody. He's not going to hurt himself, so we made that deal there. So we are going to sim through July like we normally do with most of our other playthroughs. We had 1 All-Star this year, and it was Michael Lorenzen, who is likely to be traded sometime this month. He's hitting 222 at the plate with 7 home runs, and he's 1-3 with a 3.69 ERA on the mound. So he's been a pretty good 2-way player for us. So we I didn't even check. I don't think I have any money for international signings. Oh, I do. Okay, we have our 5. Okay, look at our draft budget. I forgot to change that. Our draft budget is a little out of control, but we'll deal with that in the off season. So we have our first important decision to make, and that is international signings. So there are a couple of decent-ish players here. Daniel Vazquez. I kind of prefer Stuart Broadbeck. Our scout only thinks he's a 2-star, but decent contact power, home run power. He's only 16. could end up being a pretty good outfielder. Nobody with much power. So I think we make a run at Broadbeck and see if... Why don't I have enough money? Okay. So it doesn't appear as though we will be making an international signing this year, which is fine, I guess. I mean, none of these guys are really that good. Well, maybe he wants 4.2. I mean, what can we offer him? We can offer him 3,750. Is that right? Did I get that math right? Yeah. So we'll submit that. If he takes it, great. If not, he'll go elsewhere. Let's take a look at our stats. So, Brett Kennedy, 5-4 with a 3.13 ERA. He's pitched really, really well this year. Good for 2 WAR. Brusdar Graterol out of the bullpen has been quite good as our stopper. He's not striking anybody out, which is kind of weird. But only 60 hits in 64 innings. I mean, our bullpen has been good. I mean, you got Graterol, Strom, and Fairbanks as our second, third, and fourth most valuable players in terms of WAR. Newcomb has been fine. I mean, his ERA is a bit high, but, you look at his FIP, it's about a run lower, so no real... He's walking too many batters, but, I mean, I guess that's to be expected with the 43 control. I don't know. I mean, we could potentially trade. I mean, we could potentially trade everybody, so, I mean, I'm not looking at this and saying, this guy's a long-time Blazer or whatever, but, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Matt Crook has been pretty good as a starter for us. Even though he has a 39 stamina, extreme ground ball pitcher, making the minimum, on pace for 1.6 WAR. I mean, you can't complain about that. Alvarado's walked 31 batters in 29 innings. He only has a 2.12 ERA because he's only given up 13 hits in those 29 innings, but eventually those walks are going to come back to bite him in the butt, so hopefully he can get that under control. Curtis Taylor hasn't been very good, although, again, low FIP, high ERA, so... BABIP is close to 500, so he's gotten pretty unlucky. Our offense is terrible, and it's going to be terrible, but at least we know what to target in the offseason. So Enrique Hernandez, still our most valuable player. I mean, Kike's been good. Put up almost 3 WAR, puts him on pace for a 5.5 win season for us. Camargo's been fine, leads the team in RBIs. He's on pace for about 3 WAR. Another player that could potentially get traded, although I'd like to keep that middle infield. I don't mind my infield, frankly. Paredes, Camargo, Hernandez, and Andujar as my infield isn't the worst in the world. It's not great, but it's not the worst. Our outfield is just, I mean, our 3 worst players are our outfielders. Mullins, Williams, and Cameron. So we got to do something about our outfield. But our infield is okay. I mean, you see the look at this. Our top five batters in terms of WAR are all our infield players. Our lowest 3 batters in terms of WAR are our outfielders. So it's been bad. It's been really, really, really bad. So yeah, so that's kind of where we are from a statistical standpoint. Not much else to show because we don't really have any prospects yet. But that's going to change here in a few days. So let's start simming along and let's see what happens at the draft. So first game of the month is a 5-3 victory. Good start to the month. Matt Crook with another solid outing. 3 unearned runs in 5 1/3 innings. Alvarado gets the win. Graterol picks up the save. 2 hits, 3 RBIs for Dean. So good start to the month. Game 2. Another 5-3 win. So back-to-back victories here to start off June. Said Mullins had a couple hits. Miguel Andujar with a bases clearing triple. Who got the start? Kennedy. Another good start for Kennedy. So yeah, a couple of our pitchers are doing okay. I don't know if they're necessarily building blocks, but they're definitely pieces. 3 wins in a row. They're definitely pieces that can work with a future team. Thomas Nido is another player I have to look to move. He's hitting the ball relatively well. He's good defensively, and I think his ARB number went up to like 4 million. But he had 4 RBIs in this one. So Fleming picks up the win in his second start. That's nice to see. Fuentes continues to pitch really, really well out of the pen. Again, I will likely make him a starter next year. 3 wins in a row out of the chute here in July. lose 10-8. So we have won. We are 4-1 here in July. Who would have thunk it? Camargo with a couple of hits. Farmer 2 hits, 2 RBIs. Cameron has a 2-hit game. Crook picks up another win. Only 1 hit in 5 innings for Matt Crook. And the bullpen again. Fuentes gave up a run, but Hernandez and Gratterall come in and shut it down. All right, so we get a day off, followed by 3 at Arizona. And then we get to the draft on the 11th, which is obviously huge. And you know who's going to be there. We're going to have the second pick in the draft. It's going to be Jordan Lawler, Marcelo Meyer, Kumar Rocker, all the normal players. We win again. What is going on here? Kike Hernandez, 4 for 5 out of the leadoff spot. Who got the start? Lorenzen was 7 innings of 1-run baseball. Gratterall with another save. What is going on with this team? And we should have the second pick in the draft, I believe. And another win, because we had the first pick in the expansion draft. Another win. Another good start for Kennedy. 6 2/3 of 1-run ball. Bullpen once again doing their job. And we are on fire here in July. Your Boston Blazers 6-1 in the month of July. We lose Josh Fleming for 4 weeks. That is a kick in the junk. So we'll call up Morrow. On who moves into... I guess we give Fuentes that shot now. I wasn't really planning on it, but we don't really have another option. So, all right, game 1 against the Dodgers. Is a 5-1 loss. And it's time for the draft. I guess I should have looked at this before. I didn't. I never looked at it. No, we're picking at the bottom of the draft. I thought expansion teams got picks at the top of the first round. Was I wrong about that? Because that's really disappointing. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, they think Judson Fabian's going to go first. Oh, right. This is the old draft list. This isn't the... Well, I guess no, because you got Henry Davis there, who is, wasn't wasn't on the list previously. I have Kumar Rock. I promise you Kumar Rocker's not going to fall this far. Because if he does, I'm going to take him. So, I promise you that's not going to happen. A lot of these players won't fall past me. They think we're going to take Kyle Manzardo. I'm not taking a first baseman as my first ever pick. All right, well, I was wrong. So I thought we were picking in the top. We're picking 32nd. So we'll go ahead and send to our pick. Let's see who's available. Yeah, Kumar Rocker's not there. Let's look at the draft log. So it went Lawler. Wow, Leiter. Okay. So they did upgrade. They did update everyone's rating. So it went Lawler, Leiter, Meyer, Watson, Davis, House. Rocker went 7th. Right. Judd Fabian, Montgomery, Woods, Frelick, McLean, Ford, Del Castillo, Mack, Jensen, Mooney, Lonnie White Jr., Matthew Nelson, Isaac Pacheco, who I really like in this game, Luca Tresh, Carson Williams, Norby, Taylor, Smith, Edwin Arroyo, Chase Petty, McLean, Wilson, Baez, Cody Morissette. So it's now our pick. All right. So, I mean, we just go after the best available player, right? I mean, I think that's the option. And just at quick glance, it looks to be Colton Cowser. Colton Cowser or Wes Kath. He's impossible to sign. Who do they think? They think we should take... Yeah, they think we should take Cowser. All right, let's look at the pitchers real quick and make sure there's nobody there that sets my hair on fire. But Beck's not bad, but meh. And as my first pick. Hogland's not bad. I like Jackson Jobe. The problem is I pick one of these guys. The other one won't be there when it comes back around for us to pick again. So I think we're going to go Colton Cowser. That was the first name that stuck out to me. 21-year-old center fielder. We need some help in the outfield. I don't know that he's going to stick in center field. with those ratings, but he could easily be a corner outfielder. Potentially very, very good bat. That's a leadoff bat. OSA absolutely loves him. So Colton Cowser is going to be the first pick of the Boston Blazers. Let's go on to pick number 2. See what we have. Man, I was just praying that Jackson Jobe would be there. I'm curious, where did he end up going? Okay, he went in the second round of the Red Sox. Okay. Yeah, I'm not surprised, but I was, you can be hopeful, right? So I was being hopeful. All right, so our number 2 pick, Brendan Beck is still there. Again, I don't mind Beck. OSA likes him more than we do, but good control. Goes to Stanford. I mean, he has the pedigree for sure. So maybe Devin Obi. He's got some pop in his bat. I don't know if he's worth a second-round pick, though. I don't know. He's got, what do our scouts say? Raw plus raw power potential. Draw 50 walks. He'll never hit at a good clip. Kyle Manzardo. He was the one they wanted us to take in the first round. Alex Benelis. Say likes him more than we do. Very long swing. Liable to rack up the strikeouts. I think I'm leaning towards Beck. I'm leaning. I don't know. And this is where I wish I was doing this live so I could have you guys here to help me. Braden Montgomery. Above average number of home runs. Sure-handed right fielder. Average runner at best. Down. I think I like Obi's power, but he's not a good defensive player, but I like his power potential. So we're going to go Devin Obi. I like the power. And let's pick again. See if any of those pitchers are still there. Beck is still there, so I'll take Beck in the 3rd round. I can take him in the 3rd round and be okay with it. So it's now our pick again. Who do they think we should take? Casey Sauk the second. So he's a 3rd baseman. He's not a 2nd baseman with those ratings. But that's a possibility. Elijah Hamill. I like Wes Kath. I mean, he's impossible to sign, but... Lorenzo Carrier, he's impossible to sign as well. Davis Diaz, good glove, good speed. I don't mind Sauk. We would make him a 3rd baseman. That's fine. Let's go on to the next pick. Let's look at all players, see if we have any pitchers that can hit. McCade Brown is still there in the 5th round. A high work ethic and intelligence, 4 potentially good pitches. Yeah, I'm going to take McCade Brown. All right, so now what do we have for pitchers that are batters? Anything? Doesn't appear so. I mean, a couple guys showing up on the list, but nobody that's that good that would make me stop what I'm doing and pick him in the 6th round. So let's go in and let's start doing what we normally do, which is look at pitch potential for our pitchers and see what we get. So you got Jackson Lynn, who 18 years old, goes to Cambridge, Ringe and Latin in Cambridge, Massachusetts. He's actually, he wouldn't be a bad two-way player. 97 to 99, decent stuff. His movement and his control are meh. He's got good power, good eye. And we're going to take Jackson Lynn. I like that. Victor Quinn, again, another player that I love. He's got 3 potentially really, really good pitches. He's 18 years old, and honestly, we share the same birthday. So Victor Quinn is going to be my next pick. Jake Flaherty. I love these 18-year-olds with high stuff and 3 good pitches, because if the movement or the control develop, although I'm taking Bryce Miller with this pick, 4 good pitches. He's already pretty well developed, but again, the room to, I mean, I question how good this draft actually is. I'm beginning to think that it might be Bryce McGowan. I'm beginning to think that it might be my scout is. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that all of these guys are gonna turn into something. But let's go back to bats, because I just drafted a crap ton of pitchers right there. James Tibbs, high leader, loyalty, adaptability, work ethic. He's only 18. Yes, sir. Let's look at defensive ratings. See if there are any catchers. Connor Pavloni. Yep. Nope, it's not my pick. Now we'll take Connor Pavloni. Renee Lastris, another good defensive catcher who's got some power. Let's go back to pitchers. Yeah, this is crazy. Like, I can't imagine that all of these players are going to develop. I mean, they won't. I mean, they won't develop. But, you know, if I can find, if 2 or 3 of these pitchers turn into something, then it was worth taking a shot at all of them, really. It's Carver. All right, so we've done 15 rounds. That's enough. I'm gonna auto complete the draft. So I'm a little disappointed in that I thought we were gonna get a top 2, top 3 pick, but I mean, it's fine. So Michael Lorenzen wants to stay in Boston. I'm sure he does. But let's go and let's negotiate with our draft picks. I mean, they're all super cheap. Colton Cowser, Devin Obie, Brendan Beck in the 3rd round, Casey Sauk in the 4th, and McCade Brown in the 5th. So, I mean, I think if they develop the way that our scout thinks they will, they'll be pretty good. I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but we'll see. So let's set up the minor league system. And right now I've got ghost players on, just so I can continue to sim, because I don't want to go through and just sign a whole crap ton of garbage minor league players just to fill out the minor league system. So, yeah. So, I mean, that's okay. It's fine. So at this point, I'm going to step aside like I normally do. And actually, you know what? Let's sim ahead one more week. I'll sim ahead to the 18th, and then I'll sim those last 2 weeks offline and make any final deals that need to be made. Let's see where we stand through the next week. 7-2 loss in 16 innings. 9-5. So we're hitting a rough patch here, which is fine. It's to be expected. We aren't a very good team. We had a nice run there at the start of the month, but the wheels have sort of fallen off here over the last week. And we finally bounced back with a 12-10 win. This is what happens when your offense is as bad as it is. You can't score enough runs to get it done. So Mullins had a good game, 3 hits, 3 RBIs. 3 RBIs for Andujar and Lorenzen. Newcomb got the start. Vargas got the win. Fairbanks got the save. Okay. So we'll keep going. Another win. So we went 11-4 this time. Gratterall's out for 4 days. No problem. 2 more hits from Mullins, who's starting to come around. Kike with 4 RBIs. Camargo, 3 hits, 3 RBIs. Yusniel Diaz, 3 hits, 2 RBIs. Cameron has a 2-hit game. Hernandez and Camargo each homer. Fuentes gets the win. Is that his first start? His second start. So he can 2 earned runs in 10 innings so far as a starter. I'll take that. We got our 3-game set against Washington, and then I will step away, sim the last 2 weeks of the month, And we'll come back on the 31st with any deals that we had. That's a bad loss. A 6-4 win, so we've won 3 of our last 4 games. 3 more hits for Cedric Mullins, finally starting to turn it around. Having a 26-year-old Cedric Mullins at the top of our lineup, I think will be really good for us if he can start to hit. Hernandez with 2 more hits. Crook with another solid outing. Can we win 2 out of 3? No. We lose 8-2. All right, so we are 45 and 54, which is last place, 2 games behind the Phillies, which, again, no problem. So we are, I'm going to step away. I'm going to come back in 11 days. Okay, so it looks like we've signed everybody. So let's go in here and make sure that we, 1, 2, 3, 4, disable, enable, disable. So Beck's going to start in A-ball because he's 22. McCade Brown is going to stay where he is. Kowser's going to start. He's going to start here, but because he's 21, he'll probably get called up quickly, and Obi will just stay in rookie ball for good for now. Or not for good, but for now. So trade options. Pretty much everyone. I'm going to hold on to Hernandez. I like Kike. I'm not going to trade him. But Lorenzen, Goodrum, Camargo. Well, Nido's down to 2.2. So we're only on the books for $35 million next year. So I'm not too terribly concerned about money because our budget will bounce up next year, I believe, based on how the game works. But I'm going to see what I can do. See if I can move some of these guys for some prospects, even if they're middle of the road prospects or wild card, lottery ticket type prospects, and see what we can get. So I will be back in 12 days. Hang tight. All right, guys, we're back. It's a day before the trade deadline, and we made one deal. It was a pretty substantial deal, and I think one that I think is going to make us better in the long term. So yeah, let's take a look at it, and then we'll look at the stats. We'll finish off the month, and we'll call it episode 2. So we traded. We saw the draft. We saw this. All right, so we traded Pete Fairbanks, Juan Yepes, Michael Lorenzen, Anderson Tejada, and Oswaldo Cabrera to the Twins, getting Ryan Jeffers and Trevor Larnach in return. It took a lot of back and forth. I started working on this deal the day that I stopped simming, which I think was the 11th. So it took almost 2 weeks for this trade to come to fruition. So we trade Fairbanks, who was really solid for us. 19 saves, a 3.16 ERA, 51 strikeouts in 37 innings. But again, I think he's more valuable to a team in contention, and that team is not us. So Pete Fairbanks, thank you for your half year. Enjoy the Twin Cities. We also sent Juan Yepes, who's a 23-year-old first baseman with, to be fair, some power. I don't know how good he ultimately was going to be. He was hitting 250 in AAA. So Yepes goes. Michael Lorenzen was the other major league piece. Again, he had pitched pretty well for us. He had hit pretty well for us, but we weren't going to re-sign him. So we figured now would be as good a time as any to move him and send him to a team where we might get something in for value in return. And who knows? Maybe we can bring him back in the offseason. Oh, he signed a new contract. Wow. Immediately signed a contract with the Minnesota Twins. 3 years, $37 million. No, thank you. And then a couple of minor league infielders. Anderson Tejada, 23 years old. I don't know that he's ever going to hit enough or, frankly, field enough. His defensive ratings are good, but his positional ratings are pretty awful. So I don't know what we're going to get out of Tejada. And Cabrera was the final piece of that puzzle. As soon as I put Cabrera in there, they accepted it. I was going back and forth for, like I said, about 2 weeks without Cabrera. But once I added him in there, they accepted. And look, I didn't even realize he's 5'10", 145 pounds. That's crazy. That's tiny. And in return, we get Trevor Larnach, who is the number 35 prospect in baseball, immediately becomes our starting left fielder. You can see so far 6 for 24, 2 home runs, 6 runs knocked in those 6 games. Was in St. Paul, where he hit 280 with 12 home runs prior to coming to Boston. and Ryan Jeffers. I wasn't looking for a catcher, but they offered Jeffers to me as part of the initial package for Fairbanks, and that's kind of where this deal started. Jeffers for Fairbanks straight up. Good defensive catcher, really good eye, good home run power. He's never going to hit for a super high average, but if he hits 250, 260, everything else should kind of take care of itself. 24 years old, immediately becomes our long-term solution at catcher. So far for us, 3 for 23, 2 home runs, 6 runs knocked in, 306 with the St. Paul Saints. So that was the one deal we made in July. Yeah, and I think we're in pretty good shape. I mean, we're bad. We're going to be bad, and that's fine. But it wasn't about this year. So we lose again. Yeah, so let's just sim the end of July. We will take a look one more time quickly at the team stats, and then when we come back, so the next episode will be the end of the season. So I'm going to sim ahead to the end of the regular season, and then we'll do the off season next week. So any significant improvement from any of our young players? Fleming got better, although he's still hurt. Hamilton got better, which is nice to see. Alvarado got a little worse. Jeffers better and worse. Larnach got significantly better. That's good. Any of our prospects on here yet? Casey Sau, Colton Cowser, a little bit better, a little bit worse across the board, so that's fine. Yeah, so if we look at our pipeline really quickly, not much to look at as of yet, but we've talked about Larnach. Contreras, I sent down to AAA. Once we picked up Jeffers, he'll be up next year. Abreu, we just called up, stuck him in the starting rotation. We'll see how that goes. Fuentes, we've talked about. Justin Williams is considered a prospect. He's not hitting. None of our new guys are on here. How are they doing so far? So McCade Brown was our 5th round pick. So far, so good. 3.38 ERA with 31 strikeouts and 21 innings in rookie ball. Colton Cowser, 11 for 44, 8 extra base hits in 15 games, 1015 OPS. So I think it's, yeah, let's give him the bump. Let's give him the bump to A-ball, see how he does. And then Devin Obie was our 2nd round pick, 217, only 1 home run so far, so he's fine where he is. And then Brendan Beck, 0-2 with a 7.11 ERA in A-ball. I mean, this is where he needs to be with his ratings, so we'll just let him work through it. So that's going to do it, guys. That's it for episode 2. The beginning of episode 3 will be the end of the regular season. We will review the team stats. We'll get to off-season number 1, and we'll see if we can turn this Blazers team into a winner. As always, I appreciate the support, guys. Thanks for watching. Leave the video a like and subscribe, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.